Uses of ATP, anabolic reactions, and active transport. For example, sodium, calcium bumps in. Nervous transmission. Mechanical work. Example, muscle contraction. Maintenance of body temperature, etc. This is uses of ATP. Now we talk about respiration. We talked about ATP. What is the ATP? Uses of ATP. Now we will talk about respiration. Okay. Respiration is the breakdown of respiratory substrate, such as glucose. Respiration, what is respiration? Respiration is the breakdown of a respiratory substrate, such as glucose, to produce energy in the form of ATP. Okay, what is respiration? What is respiration? Respiration is the breakdown of a respiratory substrate such as glucose to produce energy in the form of ATP. Okay, this is what is the respiration means. Is the breakdown of a respiratory substrate such as glucose to produce energy in the form of ATP. Now we will talk about what is the type of respiration. There are two main types of respiration. This types is aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic occurs in the presence of oxygen. Aerobic, when the respiration called aerobic respiration, aerobic occurs in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence of oxygen. In the aerobic case, produces large amount of ATP. in the aerobic case, produces large amount of ATP. In anaerobic case, less ATP, produces less ATP and is less efficient. Okay, some organisms and tissues are able to respire in both aerobic and anaerobic conditions. When yeast and plants respire under anaerobic conditions, they produce ethanol and carbon dioxide as end products. Mammalian muscles tissue produces lactate when oxygen in low supply, which causes fatigue. Okay, respiration is a multi-step process with each step catalyzed by a specific intracellular enzymes. Okay, now we will talk about glycolysis. We talked about respiration, ATP. What is ATP? Then we talked about respiration and types of respiration, aerobic and anaerobic, and what is the main difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration produces more amount of ATP. In anaerobic it produces less amounts of ATP, and aerobic respiration occurs in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic occurs in the absence of oxygen. Now we will talk about glycolysis. What is glycolysis? Glycolysis. Glycolysis, Glycolysis is the first process of both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. What is the first process in respiration, aerobic or anaerobic respiration? This process, the first process, is called glycolysis. In aerobic respiration occurs in the cytoplasms of cells. In this process, glucose is phosphorylated. In this process, glucose is phosphorylated to produce two molecules of pyruvate. Phosphorylated to two molecules of pyruvate. Two molecules of ATP and NADH. Two molecules of ATP and two molecules of NADH. Okay, glycolysis, the first process in respiration, in aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Glucose we will phosphorylate it to produce two molecules of ATP and two molecules of NADH and two molecules of pyruvate. In aerobic respiration, pyruvate is further converted into lactate with the help of NADH. Lactated is then converted back to pyruvate in the liver. Okay, two molecules of pyruvate. In anaerobic respiration, pyruvate will convert it to lactate. NADH. This is in case anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration, NADH acetyl-CoA, then acetyl-CoA going to Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle in case of aerobic respiration. That's okay. This is glycolysis. This is glycolysis. At the finish, we will talk about a Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle, acetyl-CoA then enters the Krebs cycle where glucose is oxidized and carbon dioxide, ATP, reduced NAD and reduced fat are produced. The Krebs cycle also includes decarboxylation, removal of carbon dioxide, and dehydrogenation, removal of hydrogen to convert 6-carbon citrate to 4-carbon oxaloacetate. This is in Krebs cycle, acetyl coenzyme A six-carbon citrate CO2 NAD H2 4-carbon 5-carbon CO2 ATC. Okay, thank you for listening this lesson, and we will talk about carbohydrates in the next lesson. Thank you very much.